So if you've never seen this book, it's a great gift, I think. The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. And it's just one of those types of books where there's little thought for each day of the year. So I'm going to read a little, this one's called A Profound Bow. This is a quote by Lao Tzu. All streams flow to the sea because it is lower than they are. Humility gives it power. Humility gives its power. So I think many times we think about humility, and it's this internal bow, right? So this is what this is about. There is a yoga mudra, a kneeling posture of exercise where you bring your head to your chest while extending your arms up and out behind you. You can practice placing your head beneath your heart. And from this humbling position, you can't help but tire. And so you must put your arms down. With your head beneath your heart, you must stop doing. Soon after learning this, I came upon a woman who had been a nun, and she told me that she would practice for days upon days similar postures of Gregorian chant, incline, bow, and profound bow, each bringing the head lower and lower to the earth. This holds a powerful lesson. Time and time again, the head must be brought beneath the heart, or the ego swells. If you do not bend, life will bend you. And in this way, humility is accepting that your head belongs beneath your heart, with your thinking subordinate to your feeling, with your will subordinate to the higher order. This acceptance is key to receiving grace. Lay your head down, and the world of being will open its joys. All right, so sit up straight and tall. We will bow our head in various ways today. But have this sense first of a proud, reaching heart. You don't have to compress your back body to do this, but have a sense of lift, that the heart can be mighty and very stout. And part of learning to bow the head, the mind below the heart, is also to learn how to lift the heart. So let's start here. And notice if this is unusual for you, if you have a tendency throughout the day to start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking the heart for many reasons. Sometimes it's just purely posture. Sometimes it's the way we're very heady and thinking. Sometimes it's a collapse of the emotional state. So let's counteract some of that sink and open spaciously in the heart space. Feel your shoulder blades drop down. And then notice what's holding you here. So is there any integration that's needed in your ribs? Do you have a sense that you're pushing or prodding? Can you soften so that this becomes a posture of ease, not just a posture of striving? Let your ears draw back a little bit so that your head is not perched forward. And let the mind kind of settle into the back of your brain. Rest into the base of the skull. Soften through all the muscles around your skull and your face. Feel the collarbones widen, the support of the shoulder blades, the integration of the ribs. And once you settle on your perch, where you feel like you're centered on your pelvis and you have this healthy posture, bring ease, soften something. And within that ease, begin to breathe. Have that sense of the Ujjayi breath where there's just this slight banking of the river of your breath. Your throat is just a little more constricted so that you can channel through a narrower pathway this steady stream, slow, steady stream of the inhale and the slow, steady stream of the exhale. Breathing through the nose as well as you can. Beyond just the feeling of the heart swell, can you also have a sense that your diaphragm is able to release? That the pelvic floor can have that feeling of spaciousness as well. As you attune to the body and breath, let's place our hands together on our heart and offer our first bow. So drop your skull, chin toward chest, rest the eyes. Feel the heart lift, not to a place of compression in the back body, but to a place of meeting mind and heart and hands into one space. And in this sense of our thinking, our feeling, our doing, let's unify head, hands, and heart into an intention. Release the hands, and let's find our way onto our back. All right, so stretch out on your mat. Okay, and feel into a different sense of your body and space. Okay. When we lie down, everything spreads out differently. So feel that, when you lie down, you become a little bit like water that's spilled on the ground, where you can spread out your body a little bit more. And then reach your arms overhead. And when you do, notice what your heart space does. Do you have a little back bend in your body? Do you have a sense of waking through the chest or heart? Then let's reach the right side and reach the left side, just feeling our side ribs, our side shoulders, our side hips kind of open up and waken. Breathing well. And then relax your arms and bring your knees to your chest, and let's rock a little bit, just swaying from side to side, feeling that little slosh bucket vibe where we're just rocking, just rocking. Stay with your breath as much as you can through the practice. Let's circle your knees. Kind of feel into the nice, easy posture for your back and your pelvis, gently warming your back up. Go the other direction. Circling, circling. And then let's open the knees away from the midline and bring them back in. Just feeling what's here today in your hips. Breathing well. All right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground. Feel free to wake up your feet now. So roll through your ankles, wiggle through your toes, just get all that fascia and soft tissue to loosen and open. Lots of joints in your ankles and feet. Okay, change sides, left knee and right leg comes onto the ground. Keep the movement happening in your ankles. You can invert and evert your feet or do some circles. Feel the length of your spine. All right, and then release that left leg. Stretch out to a star on the ground. Notice the spine, the little bit of back bend that might come. Reach into your edges. Find a deep breath in, and when you're filled with in-breath, squeeze, hold the breath and squeeze everything you can. And then release the breath and bring your knees into your chest. Pick up your head, chin toward chest. Inhale, open out again. A big full body stretch. Exhale, draw it on in. And release your head down, feet on the ground. And let's have feet hip width apart. And just windshield wiper, we're gonna start moving into some twisting actions just to loosen the spine. So nice and gentle rocking from one side to the other. You can turn your head if you want in opposition of your knees. All right, and then straighten your left leg on the ground. Draw your right knee, and we're going to cross over into a twist. This is a big twist, so feel free to put a block or something underneath your right shin so that you can support yourself, and focus more on what's happening in the chest. So let your hips turn and let your chest open. So feel into those pec muscles, and perhaps move your arm in different positions. You can have it straight out like a T or up more like a Y, and just feel into some of those fibers of your chest muscles. How's your breath? Then come back to center, knees into your chest, pick up your head, and then straighten your right leg, left knee into your chest. Drop the left leg over. Feel free to put a block underneath your knee. A big open twist here. Let your pelvis turn. Maybe your head turns. Feel the stretch across your pectoralis muscles in your chest. Once again, experiment with different positions. Arm can be straight out, or your left arm can come up like the letter Y. So you have some different experiences stretching those fibers across your chest. Breathing well. And then relax. Come back to center, knees in, chest up, chin in. Inhale, star your body out again. Big breath. Exhale. Draw it in. Let's come rolling over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. So as you find all fours, before we start moving into some cat-cow's ground, feel your hands and your shins, your knees, your feet. Find where you're touching and give your weight to the earth, and then start to move with breath into some cat-cows, rounding the spine, feeling your shoulder blades move away from each other, away from the spine, and then arching the back and feeling your shoulder blades move toward the spine, chin up, touch your teeth. Let the movement be obviously about your vertebrae, but there's so much that connects to your vertebrae. Feel how your rib cage feels, your shoulder blades, your skull, your pelvis. What are the relationships to the spine as you move? Stay with your breath. And then after some cat-cows, feel free to move around any way you want to move. So let your ribs move, let your shoulders, your tail, anything that's going to help you get loose and free in your body. Move into your breath. Let your breath find nooks and crannies to be in. And then let's take our first child's pose here and feel into what is available in this kind of bow. So if you can't touch the ground for whatever reason with your head, you can always put a block under your head. If your hips are really high, it may be easier to bring your head to the ground. So whatever feels comfortable for you. Put your arms in a relaxed position instead of super striving. They can be overhead, but a little softer. Maybe a little bend in your elbows. Relax here. See what it feels like to drop your brain down. Let your brain feel like it can rest in the hammock of your forehead. So we start to give this thinking mind that's constant, right? Never stops. Let's give it a little break. Let's soften the skull. Let's soften the thinking mind. Come into that state of humility.
where even though our heart is offering toward the earth, it's slightly higher than our head. So bow into this posture.
What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to release? What can you be humble to offer right here? All right, we're going to move here now. So walk the hands over to one side of your mat and feel the deep reach in the side body. We're preparing our rib cage, our chest, our shoulders for some heart opening. So let's experience our breath traveling. See if you can get the breath to travel to the bottom rib tip. And then over to the other side. Feel that sense of stretch, drop some weight down, soften the skull. All right, and then come back onto all fours. Come on up, curl your toes under. And now let's stretch back to a child's pose with our toes curled under. So you may not get very far depending on your feet, but just let the bottom of your feet awaken and open, still bowing the head. Soft shoulders. All right, and then come back up onto all fours. Inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky. Feel the chest broaden and open. As you exhale, slide that shoulder down, coming into a twist. Now enjoy what this offers to your rib cage and spine. Keep the breath moving and melt the head toward the ground. See if you can even turn your gaze a bit toward the earth to keep the neck relaxed and neutral. Inhale, lift that arm back up. Hand onto the ground, change sides, arm up. Exhale, slide arm through. Gazing toward the floor, enjoy the rib cage mobility. Breathe deeply here. Relax your neck. And then come all the way up again. Arm to the sky, hand comes down. Dog pose, find the fullness here. So this pose also is a deep bow. So feel the feeling of the head dropping below the heart. There's so much that happens with that on an energetic level, on a physical level, a mental level, an emotional level. There's a lot that shifts when we bow our head and drop our head below our heart. So feel the work of the posture, root to rise, ground your legs and hands, and feel that extension. But don't forget, through the efforting of the body, to feel the melting of the brain, melting of the skull, the freedom in the breath and heart space. All right, walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana, fold, relax your neck, knees can bend as much as you want. Another form of a bow. You know, we do this a lot in yoga, and let's just be aware of what that sensation is like energetically to keep the head resting below the heart. Okay. Soften the mind. It's such a beautiful way to release all the energy that's constant in our brains of the thinking, feeling like our thinking has to come first before our feeling. Okay, come into a halfway lift. Stretch the spine now. Thigh bones move way back. Stretch the backs of the knees. Legs are straight. Feel the extension in your body. And then melt and fold. Relax your head. Drop your seat. Lift your chest and come to rise up. Bring the arms to the sky. Open yourself up. Let's cactus open the arms. Feel the shoulder blades hug toward each other a little bit on the back. The chest is broad and big. Inhale, arms up again. Bring your hands straight out to the sides, fingertips reaching up toward the sky. Drop the shoulders, turn the eyes of the elbows up, pull your arms back. Feel that zing, hopefully all the way through to your hands. And then release the arms and give them a good shake. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open up through your chest. Hug your shoulder blades toward each other. Feel the collarbones broaden and the natural lift of the heart. See if you can keep that lift of the heart as you bow forward. Relax your skull. Arms come away from the spine wherever is comfortable for your body. Keep bobbling your head. Let it soften and neutralize. Breathing deeply. And release your arms down to the ground. Grab onto your elbows and just a little bit of a tug so you feel the release of your ribs, your shoulders, your armpits. Bobble your head again. Let the bow be soft, that there's a lot of support here for the sense of ease for your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Hands can come on blocks or legs. Then exhale and relax down. Let's take our left foot back. Right foot comes forward into a lunge. Extend through the spine here. Feel your breath move. All right, let's start to move the legs. So straightening the front leg a bit, bowing your head. Another form of the bow. Notice. Inhale, bend your knee, lift your chest. Keep that heart open. Exhale, as you bow, try not to collapse the heart. Broad chest, soft skull. One more time, bending the knee, chest stays open. And then a nice full bow again. All right, come into your lunge, ground your legs, rise up when you're ready to a crescent lunge, reaching the arms upward. Now notice how good it feels to have this sense of awareness of an open heart. So keep the chest broad and free, nice and stable through your legs. Find your breath. The arms can be anywhere. I feel the hip flexors stretch open. Big breathing, relax your neck. And then release the hands down onto the ground. Step your front foot back, dog pose. A long, spacious spine here. Come forward into a plank. So here, we often can have that sunken chest feeling where we can feel like we need to retract our chest upward. See if instead you can broaden the collarbones. Feel your shoulder blades grip onto the ribs and support so that you can have your chest broad without messing with your shoulders. Okay, integrate your core. Find your breath. Let your knees down when you feel ready and find the ground. Roll the shoulders. Let's keep the forehead on the ground for a moment. Just roll the shoulders up toward the ears, up toward the sky and back. And then lift up to cobra pose when you're ready. Inhale to rise, chest all open and broad. Exhale, release down. Take your fingertips on the ground wide on the outer corners of, outside your mat. Inhale, rise up, turn your head to the right. Exhale, release down. Inhale, rise up, turn your head to the left. Exhale, and come back down. Up onto all fours, swish about in your spine, move your tailbone side, a little swish if it feels good. And then when you're ready, let's bring our left foot forward. You can always come up to dog pose if that's how you like to transition. Coming into a lunge on this side, left foot is forward. Put the blocks on whatever height you enjoy them to be on. And let's start to move here. So straightening and bending. Your knee, move with your breath. Feel into the flow of your practice. As you bow your head, notice the energetics of this. Notice what it feels like to release your head, to surrender to the fact that you don't have to be guided by your thinking. You can be guided by your breath. You can be guided by sensation in your body. You can be guided by your heart. It's nice to feel humble and have humility and grace enter into you. And it's also nice to give way where the ego and the mind don't have to always be the leaders. So surrender into that as best as you can. Use your breath to help you. When you are ready, come rising upward. So nice stable legs. Put your arms anywhere that serves your sense of open heart and breath. Support yourself with your strong legs. Root to rise up. Notice your low back. Try to be very mindful to be protective with your core. Keep your neck in a neutral, soft place with the base of the skull melting. Stay in that rhythmic flow of your breathing as best as you can. All right, release your hands down. Walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Hold. Relax your neck. A halfway lift. Spine is long and spacious. Bow again. Let's take our feet wider to the edges of the mat. Bend your knees if you want to. Relax here. Soften the skull down. Okay, we're going to turn this into a squat. So you can turn your feet out a little bit more if that's more comfortable. Drop your hips. Extend through your spine. Find your breathing. All right, and then straighten your legs. Hands can come on blocks if that helps to support you. Come up to stand. All right, so finding Tadasana for a moment. Just pause here. Now, even though our head is above our heart, let's see if we can lead with the heart. So what does it feel like to stand in Tadasana where if someone greeted your energy, someone was coming toward you and greeting your energies are meeting each other. Can you let your heart be what it travels outward to them first? How do you express yourself from the heart space before the mind space? So create a posture that represents that feels that in your body. Ground your legs, soft knees, breathe into the pelvic floor, breathe into the diaphragm. And now just to understand how important that is, just collapse a little bit, however you might normally collapse. It could be, your chest sinks. It could be that you kind of lean into one leg. But if you were feeling, slunky, what would the posture look like in your body? Okay. And you don't have to exaggerate. Just be what your normal kind of slouchy self would be. And now notice what if someone's coming towards you, what are they greeting first? What is the energy that's going outward from you that would be first noticed by another? So which do you want to be in the world? Okay, so let's find that other posture. Let's open the heart again, shake your hands, maybe bounce a little bit in your legs, get some energy moving through your limbs. Find your breath. And now with this, we're going to ground into our right leg, and we're going to bring the left leg up into kind of like dancer's pose. We're going to go into dancer's pose in a moment. If you need to hold on to something, you can always have a wall or a piece of furniture close by. Try not to let your knee go out to the side, drop it down, reach your arm up in the air. Find your breath. And just feel that open heart and stretching your knee down to the ground. And let's change sides. Grab on to the other foot, reach the arm up. Try not to lean over to the side or get your knee out. See if you can keep that sense of what would be met. What you're reaching out into the world is the heart space first. Find your breathing. Relax your foot down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, big swan dive forward. Relax your skull. Halfway lift. Spine gets longer. Exhale and melt again. Step your left foot back. Come to a lunge. Back heel comes down onto the ground now. So Virabhadrasana 1, reach your arms up or out wherever you want them to be. You can lean forward a little bit in this pose to support your back. Round into your legs. So the 2 feet are rooting. The arms come where supports the chest opening the best. Feel the heart lift. Can you lift the heart without compressing the back? See if you can get the broadness to live in you. Ground through your legs. Keep your neck soft and neutral. Now tip your head back a little bit if it feels safe to do so. And then release your hands up onto half splits, long spine. Find your breath. We're going to do a one-legged bow now. So the hands can stay on the blocks or they can come to the earth. Try not to lift your hip. See if you can keep the hip square as you bow one-legged. Relax the skull. Feel the energetics. Bring your hands back onto the blocks. If they went to the ground, straighten out. Take a deep breath. Exhale, one-legged squat. Draw a knee next to or behind the other knee. Bow your head. So many ways to bow other than child's pose. Feel your head soften. Inhale, press out straight. Back you go into Virabhadrasana 1. Heel comes down. Rise up again. Arms open. Maybe out to the sides, maybe up. Where do you want to be? And then release the hands down, dog pose. Feel the energetics of that head below your heart. Breathe deeply here and melt. Can you feel the stability and the melting all at once? Notice the way your brain is shifting with all of this head bowing. You know, as your mind starting to rest within the body, within the breath. Come forward into a plank. Steady yourself. Integrate. Try not to sunk the chest in. Broad chest and collarbones. Support with your side ribs, your shoulder blades, your core, your legs, your glutes, everything strong to help you keep open in the heart. Okay. Release your knees down to the ground. Body comes to the floor. Arms down at your sides or overhead or out to the sides. Choose your pathway. Inhale, lift everything up. Whole body tries to lift off the ground. Neck is soft. Breathing into the strength of your full back body. And then melt and fold. Come up on all fours and move the spine about. A swish here, a swish there. However you're modifying your practice for you, stay within your breath. Let's go ahead, either come to dog pose or just bring your left foot forward. If you're in dog pose, swing that left foot forward when you're ready and come into Virabhadrasana 1 leg. So we're squaring as best as we can toward the front, but our back heel's down, so our hips are probably not going to square all the way. Scoop your arms up if it feels safe and comfortable. Otherwise, maybe arms out or hands on your hips. You can lean forward a little bit to help protect your back. You can rise up, you can look up, you can tip back. So just find the pathway in this posture that works for you. Ground your feet, both legs rooting. Feel the chest open up. The head is soft, the neck is relaxed. Fill up your breath. And then release the hands down. Come up into half splits, so hands on blocks. We're straightening that leg behind us. Find your breath, square hips. When you're ready, tip forward to whatever place you can and lift that leg up. So, you know, when we're in half splits with our hands on blocks, we're usually kind of parallel to the ground. So even a couple of inches dipping down, let your head drop below your heart. Try not to lift your hip. See if you can keep things parallel and strongly lift that leg in the air. All right, inhale, lift up halfway again, and then we're going to squat. So tuck your knee next to or behind the left knee. Press your left foot into the ground. Lengthen through your body. Feel the sense of space through your chest
And then when you're ready, bow your head. Try not to collapse your heart. Spacious heart, soft skull. Inhale, straighten out to a half lift again. And then step all the way back into Virabhadrasana 1. Once you have your legs grounded, rise up, arms go anywhere you want them to be. Feel the roots. Your legs are rooting down, the heart is lifting up. Maybe the head can tip back. Find your breath. Release your hands and walk your back foot forward. Once again, come into Tadasana. Feel the balance, the evenness of the weight of 2 legs on the ground. So wait until you feel the energy starts to balance out between left and right. Once again, how do you want to present yourself outward energetically? Is your heart the leader? We're going to come into dancer now, so drop some weight into the right foot, pick up your left. You can always hold a furniture or a wall. If you are not holding, you can reach that arm up in the air, start to tip forward, reach the right arm, square up the hips and ribs, and only go as far as you can go. The hamstring that you're standing on has to work for this pose and stretch at the same time. How's your breath? Okay, come back up, bring your knee all the way up to your chest, and then place it onto the ground. Just notice the scramble that can happen when we come into balance poses. A lot of people get very caught up in the desire to balance that we forget to breathe, we forget to find ease, we forget to rest the mind. So when we come into the second side, clear the decks as fast as you can. Let your brain focus on your balance without burrowing. Let your body breathe well without holding. Reach that arm up if it feels nice. You can always have your hand on your hip or out to the side, or you can hold on to something. Kick your foot into your left foot into, or sorry, your right foot into your right hand. Square hips. Full breath. Soften your left knee so we're not locking out our standing leg. You can go tipping as far forward as you want. And then come back up. Bring your knee up. Place your foot down onto the ground. Just pause here for a moment. Finding the breath. Inhale, arms coming up to the sky. A big forward fold. Feel into that bow. Relax your skull. Relax not just your physical brain, but your mental brain. See if you can rest the thought patterns into the breath. A halfway lift. Back to a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrating here, shoulders away from the ears. And then release down. All right, we're going to come to child's pose. So take your hips back toward the heels. Soften your skull. See if you can come to rest on the ground. Take your knees as close or as wide as you want them to be. And now bring your arms back behind you. All right, we're going to take our palms onto the ground and facing down, even if they don't touch the ground. And now lift your arms. Feel the back body, work a little bit, triceps engaged. Breathing deep. And then relax. We're going to grab 2 blankets. You could also do 1. You could also do a bolster if you happen to have a bolster. Now, this may not be for everybody, so you can do a bridge pose if this is not an available pose for you. You can also use a strap around your ankles if you need to. I'm going to show this from the side so that you can see my body well. Hopefully you didn't just have breakfast, because this, the blankets are going to be right up against our diaphragm. Okay, so
We're going to come so that the blankets are kind of under our bottom ribs. Okay, you find the place that's comfortable, sort of. You can even stay here with your forearms on the floor and come into a cobra pose. But if you're ready and you can reach, grab onto your feet. If you can't reach, you can put a strap around your ankles. And we're going to kick back and lift up into Dhanurasana with a little support under our ribs. And you can shimmy around until you get to a place where, this is supportive. You can move the blankets up a little bit higher, down a little lower, see what feels good. Soft neck, open heart. Breathe deeply. All right, relax. Come up onto all fours and swish your spine about. So you can wag your tail, whatever feels nice to you. Breathing well. Well, we're going to come, and you can do this bridge pose passively or actively, just depends on, what you're in the mood for in your body. Okay, so if you want to do it passively, stick a block or two underneath your pelvis. If you're going to do it actively, we're just lifting up onto the tops of our shoulders. The back of our head is neutral. So here we are with our head below our heart. See if you can rest the skull. Keep the neck neutral. Press the 4 points of your feet into the ground. Get the feeling that your pelvis is being held up by the support of your legs. Find your breath. Softness in your breath. Relax your skull. Big open chest. Sternum lifts towards chin, but try not to pull your chin down. Let your head be soft. A little bit of weight in the back of the skull. Renew your legs. 4 points of contact with each foot, pressing down. Okay. And then relax your hips down toward the ground. Rest here for a moment. And let's windshield wiper our knees. You can turn your head in opposition of your knees. Breathing well. All right, now we're going to roll over onto our right side. Everything at right angles. If you need to put a blanket under your head, do so. Palms start with them touching together. Inhale, open up your chest, stretch into a twist. You can turn your head. Of course, props in the way, move things out of the way if you have things in the way. Try to get the back of your hand onto the ground. Big breaths. And then come back and close your hands to touch. And then we're going to roll over onto the other side and repeat. Okay, find your breath. Inhale, open up. It's okay to let your knees slide apart so that your chest can broaden. Breathing well. Come back around. Now this supported back bend that we're going to do, this will be the last of the back bends. Not everybody feels good with their head drawn back. So if you need to have 2 blocks, that's fine. So we're going to take 1 block across your shoulder blades and no block for your head, or a block on the same height for your head. So your choice. If you can, if your body manages your head back, let's do that, because it will give us that feeling of the head behind the heart, where the heart is the leader. But if you don't do well with your equilibrium with your head thrown back, then by all means, take a block. All right, so the block is across our shoulder blades. Our head is coming back if we can manage it. Otherwise, on another block, bend your knees, feet on the ground. Interlace your hands on your opposite elbows. Stretch your arms and see if you can bring your arms on the top of your head. They might rest on your forehead. They might stretch past your head. Just see where your body's at. Now, if you have your head on the ground, notice
the heart above the skull. And if they're even, energetically feel that your heart is above your skull. Breathing well. And then change the cross of your elbows. If this is not a happy place for your shoulders, do something different. Take your arms straight out to the sides or up like a Y. So you don't have to do the elbow crossing. You can have any position that supports your sense of openness. If your head is back, let it go back. Open up your throat. Feel free to straighten your legs if you want, if that feels better. Any position with your arms. All right, and then if your head is on a block, you can just roll over onto your side. If your head's not, interlace your hands behind your head, pick up your head, and then roll over onto your side. Pause here for a moment, breathe here. And then come pushing yourself up onto your seat. We're going to take a twist. Have your feet off to the right side. Put a blanket underneath your left sit bone. Okay. All right, so your feet are off to the right. Your left sit bone is supported. Reach the left hand back. Right arm comes up, and then take the right arm to the outside of the knee and twist. Drop the shoulders. Experiment where you'd like your head to be. You can turn your head all the way in the same direction as the twist, or you can counter twist and turn your head to look at your oppositional knee, your right knee. Okay, come back to center. Change sides. Feet off to the left now. Right sit bone is supported. We're twisting to the right. So right hand behind you, left arm up, and then bring the left arm to the outside of the right knee. Open the breath. Chest is still the leader here. See if you cannot compress the back body. So we don't want to slouch, but we want to stay grounded through the left sit bone and feel a sense of space in the back body. Come back to center. Okay, grab your stack of a couple of blankets. Okay, and we're going to put it between our thighs for a supported child's pose, resting your body down on the blankets. Now, if you can't get this low, see if you can prop stuff up to be higher. You can experiment with lots of different ways to have your chest supported. If your hips don't go very low down, you can even, if you look at me over at a couch or a chair, let's say this is your child's pose, you can put your head higher on some higher surface. So try to have your brain rest. We all know the feeling of resting the skull on a block in pigeon pose, resting it in our hands and forward bends. So see if you can get that quality of letting the brain rest and bow. Even if its height is not necessarily below the heart, can you feel energetically that you're letting the skull release to the earth? That there's no need to be in charge with the mind. Turn your head if it's one side. For a while, you can turn it the other way. For some people, this is a very relaxing posture. For other people, this is not relaxing at all. So if that's the case for you, find something that you can rest the brain. All right, come on up. We're going to take our legs wide. We're going to sit on the edge of a blanket. Okay. so that you're up a little higher. And then stack whatever you need to stack, might be blocks, elbows on blocks, so that you can come into a forward fold with your head resting on something. So I have a blanket with a block on top of it, and then my elbows are on the block, and then my head is in my hands. Now I can go deeper, but I'm choosing not to because I want this pose to not feel extreme. I want this pose for you to feel that you can rest your brain in your palms or on a block or whatever, wherever it is, that you can give the feedback to your skull, even though it's higher than your heart at this moment, that you can surrender the mind into the forward fold. This is one of the beautiful gifts of forward folding, is this internal bow, this internal sense of surrender. So get into a place where you're comfortable to receive that quality. How is your breath? How is your state of surrender? On up and out of there. So I am going to suggest leg up the wall pose with your pelvis up on a blanket or two, so that your pelvis is higher than your heart is or you're just kind of sloped down a little bit, so you can have this feeling that the head is the bottom, the head's the lake, your legs are the river that are coming down into the ocean. Okay, so someone recently told me that they called this pose inverted lake pose. I'd never heard that before. So I'm far away with my wall, so I don't know if you can see this, but I have 2 blankets that I have, and I'm going to take 2 blocks and put them on the wall with the blankets up against blocks with the gap wide enough for my pelvis. So I have like a little dip spot for my pelvis. And then I'm going to sit on the wall. My butt is on the wall instead of on the blankets. I'm going to drop my shoulder down so I can just swing my legs up. And now you can ignore me and just do this flat on the ground if that feels better for you. But sometimes having a little support under the low back of the pelvis gives you that feeling of the inversion going all the way to your skull. And so find what's comfortable, rest here. See if you can get into a position that feels like you're a waterfall, that your toes are going down to the inverted lake of your belly, which is spilling into the heart and down into the shoulders, with your head being the very bottom of the waterfall. Okay, so just feel into the inversion, get comfortable. You can change positions with your legs. You can have them out wide. You can put the soles of your feet together. You can cross your legs like you're sitting cross-legged. You can put your feet on the wall, or you can have your legs straight up. Once you're here, enjoy. Breathe deeply and fully. Melting completely. your brain fall to the back of your skull. Let all the blood and lymph soften and drain. Now, if you're super happy in this position, you can stay here for all of Shavasana, or you can choose to come out of it whenever you are ready to find a more traditional Shavasana of lying down on your back. So however you're choosing to complete your practice, if there's anything you need, make sure you take it. And feel as you settle in for the next few minutes that your body has the warmth it needs, it has the support it needs, that you feel super comfortable to the point where the brain really can rest. The mind can surrender into the experience of rest. So whatever you're finding, this position or traditional Shavasana, see what you can do to let your limbs melt and fully drop. Return to that beautiful slow breath. And let your body rest.
Begin to deepen your breathing. Begin to move in any way that serves. Eventually finding your way onto your side. As you come to sit, can you bring your hands either over your heart or together? Let's have one final bow of softening your skull down and feeling that internal sense of grace, the humbleness, the humility. And offer this part of you to the world. Can send this energy to one person or many. Namaste. I bow to all of you. Thank you. All right, blessings on the day.